Considering Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing, except changing a man so completely and so thoroughly that he's a completely different ship by the end of it. Yes, I have a cold, yes, I have a fever, but I promise it will make sense at the end. So, is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey an anti-war film? It has been said there are no real anti-war films. For example, the original MASH was supposed to be about how war turns men into animals, but the characters were so beloved, even though they were horrible, horrible people, that it eventually became a hit TV show. In Brazil, there was a lead squad that was supposed to be a criticism, almost an expose really, on police brutality, but the country embraced the character to a degree that some of his brutal quotes became part of normal conversation. So why is that? Why is it so hard to make a real anti-war movie? Films need protagonists. Protagonists are naturally seen as heroes in their movies, even if they're not portrayed as such. So no matter how awful your character is, he will probably be seen as a hero. And worse, his environment will be seen as the environment that produced that hero. This effect bothered Todd Phillips so much after his Joker movie that he pretty much made an entire sequel just to spell out that the Joker is a loser. Don't admire this guy. Don't follow this guy. Because even though it's pretty explicit in the first movie that this guy is not a winner, he was the protagonist. So people naturally empathize with the character, and people naturally identify with the character, and therein lies the problem. So by that logic, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey cannot be an anti-war film because anti-war films don't exist. By the way, do you think there is a movie that is really an anti-war film? Let me know here in the comments. I partially agree with that logic. When I'm creating a character in the story, I always need to go beyond what I want to say with the character in that story and think about how the audience will perceive them. Because once I'm done and the movie and the book is out, it is out. It is out of my hands. But that doesn't mean that I'm not responsible. A filmmaker, a writer, is a communicator. If what I create generates the opposite idea that I was going for, something went wrong. Saying that, oh, the audience didn't get it, that's a cop-out. I have to be responsible for how good of a communicator I am when I'm crafting my idea and presenting it to the audience. I have to pay attention to the world in which I'm releasing my work. That said, even if you think that Nolan's The Odyssey is not an anti-war film because they don't exist, we have to agree that he did the next best thing. Oh, and the other next best thing is to like this video and share it with friends that may not like it because they may get mad and that may be fun. So let's try it out. Nolan's The Odyssey demonstrates the effects of war on people, both on the people that leave and the people that stay behind. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to focus on the former. I'm going to talk about Odysseus. The ship of Theseus, and I think I'm saying this correctly, is a thought experiment in which Theseus, a Greek ancient hero, kills the Minotaur, rescues his children, and escapes in a ship. Every year after that happens, Theseus' people get his ship and take it out to sea to celebrate what Theseus had done. But this ship gets old, so they need to replace the parts. And over time, every single part gets replaced. The question that hasn't endured since then is, if we swap out every single part of Theseus' ship, is it still Theseus' ship? Is the whole more than the parts? If a man goes to war and stays out for 20 years and comes back completely changed by the experiences, by what he saw and the traumas he suffered there, both the traumas caused by what he's seen and by what he's done, if those experiences change him completely, is he still the same person? For Nolan, the answer is yes and no, because it's kind of the question that he seems to be pursuing his entire career. In Nolan's The Odyssey, Odysseus is deeply changed by his experience in the Trojan War and his turbulent, to say the least, journey home. War changes him so profoundly that there's a point that he forgets who he is, literally and figuratively as well. Actually, it kind of seems that he doesn't want to remember anymore, because remembering who he was means acknowledging who he is now and what he has done and what he has witnessed. So it's very clear to him that he's not the same ship that left home, but the first thing they have him do when he arrives back at Ithaca is to prove that he is indeed Odysseus, that he is himself. So here is Odysseus, the ship of Theseus, completely changed and somehow still the same. This is Nolan's work in a nutshell. Man setting out to do extraordinary things, saving Gotham, inventing the atomic bomb, exploring space and time to save Earth, hijacking people's dreams, and in the process of doing these extraordinary things, they face unimaginable consequences, lose themselves entirely, go back home completely shattered, then try to gather the pieces and extract some meaning of what's left. So for Nolan, his work, especially The Odyssey, there are no winners in war, only losers, because some lose the battle and some lose themselves. That's all. Fun stuff. How do you feel about Nolan's perspective on war in The Odyssey? Tell us here in the comments, and also take a second to follow the channel for more film analysis and some original filmmaking coming soon. In the next video, we're going to talk about Spider-Man and the problem of scale. See you next time.